So there's been bad experiences, really bad one, but that one was so unique also because it brought about those traumas I faced when I was a small child who, who had a stutter and people looked down on. It brought out the memories when I was an house officer, when I had an oppressive senior registrar, who like was just enslaving me. So it brought out those memories where, I've been unfairly treated and it triggered so much of those subconscious processes.
Hi, everybody. You're welcome to today's episode of the Maverick Med podcast. It's been a proper thrilling session this morning, trying to get my guests ready for our session, but it's all well and good. It's all part of the fun. I have with me today a very special person, Dr. Paul Bolaji. Paul, on this podcast, I allow people to tell us about themselves. So who are you, Dr. Bolaji?
Thank you so much, Hannah, for inviting me. And I think there are a lot of great things you're doing in your podcast, and it's a privilege also for me to be here. So I'm a stroke consultant. Also, currently I work in Dorset County Hospital, in Dorchester. I'm Nigerian, and I'm beyond being a stroke consultant. Is actually I'm very also passionate about communities as a service, and I was privileged to be part of a people that was nominated 2025 Southampton Community Legend out of the 40 people living in Southampton City for services to the community. And those services I do ranges from being part of a Black Business Art and Music Festival, which does occur in Southampton yearly. I was on that coordinated a health hub, making sure also people, even beyond the activities, beyond the jamboree, people have access to some health information during those festivals. And we were able to do a little bit of mini research.
Paul, you've put your introduction on steroids. You're firing on all angles. Just relax. We'll talk about all that. Right. So you have told us that you are a stroke consultant. Why stroke?
Fantastic. I think that's a very good question. When I was growing up, I had a issue with stuttering. My first word was at the age of 4. And I had a disability. People don't know that stuttering could be some significant disability. I had a very low self-esteem. And my dad also had polio. He had right-sided hemiparesis. But despite that, he achieved immense things. So from these personal experiences, also coupled with inspiration from mentors, my uncle, Professor Shitokun, was one of the renowned neurologists in Africa. So I got inspiration from mentors and also from my own personal experience. And I felt I just wanted to help people with disability recover. And since I was a teenager, I'd always knew I wanted to do neurology. Everything I've patterned my life so that I'll be a stroke physician. So stroke is something dear to my heart. I'm very optimistic that people, with even significant disability, I'm very optimistic that potentials for recovery. And that is what keeps me going.
So growing up, having a dad with disability and you having a stutter, gosh, how difficult was that?
Yeah, it was very difficult. The funny thing is I actually, I just had very vague experience of my dad. He died at the age of 4 years. So that traumatic experience also in a way brought back that resilience, for me. But looking at these, obviously, few experiences I can remember his picture, the fact that despite the disability, he achieved so much. It was who is doing accountancy in the world. Despite that was my motivation. So that childhood experience, it's tougher also because my first word was at the age of 4. And I think that's that feeling, of being different, needing to hide. A lot of people, laugh at you. I remember I was brilliant, but I had these issues with stutter. I remember when I was a teenager, it was because the teacher felt this is the best guy here. Okay, give him an oratory competition to do. And I remember standing in front, of people, and also with the anxiety, I couldn't muster anyone. And that was one of the most shameful experiences. But that experience actually, was one that shaped me to look inward. And I've personally worked on my speaking ability over time. I still stutter sometimes, but despite that, I'd use that, more like a fuel to propel me in the journey. And surprisingly, I won, a competition in Toastmasters. I joined Toastmaster at some point. I won the best speaker for the local, and I was like the third best in the regional speaker in Southampton. So those experiences just shaped me into everything I am today. It's so surprising that stuttering, that experience is literally every single thing I've achieved has been based on that. I started singing. It was because I discovered that singing helped stuttering. So many things I indulged myself just to be better and also to support people who experience that disability. And that's why I'm very passionate about stroke, about neurology, about improving people, who have disability. Because I just feel that, no matter what you experience, it's all about looking at the glass half full. It's all about seeing the positive out of those experiences. And those are the things I discuss with my patient with stroke. That it's all about, I know it's a life-changing experience, but there's something positive you can always focus on things. And that has been my approach even to that.
Wow. I mean, I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
Totally. And I mean, I I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes as a 4-year-old boy who is now aware that, oh, that's the first time I'm speaking, and he goes on from that stage to win award at Toastmasters. That is so inspiring. That really is inspiring. Right. I would pack the story about your uncle being such an influence in your life for now. So walk me through childhood. Dad gone very early in life. Were you raised by a single mom or did you have a
No,
stepdad?
no, no. I was raised by a single, resilient mom, who unfortunately was left with 3 children, you know, and, and lost her husband at the age of, you know, she was like 34 then. And 3 children, and it was very difficult. And it was during that time, Nigeria also had issues. 1991, when there was military rule, the economic also went down. My dad was like the breadwinner. He was an accountant, worked for a very big firm. We had a relatively living a good life, but my mom was a teacher. And my dad didn't want her to do anything. He was there. But, life was quite very unpredictable, unfortunately. So growing up with I mean, being left with 3 kids, just a teacher in a very devastating economy, it was very difficult for us. That things changed.
How old were the kids?
I was the last born. I was four. And my eldest brother
Mm.
was just 5 years older than me. He was 9. So we were like 9, 7, 4. 9, sorry, nine
So 3 kids under the age of 10.
under the age of 10. And with no, Nigeria, there's no welfare package. You just look after yourself. So it was incredible, one of the toughest time. But she sacrificed a lot. She had a resolute faith in God. She didn't remarry. She was beautiful, but she didn't remarry. She just concentrated all her efforts into making who we are today. And she's produced, my elder sister is a doctor. She's doing a, you know, she, she's doing a PhD in AI and gynecology in Brazil. My brother is, does a lot of, is into film writing, directing. So, it's the sacrifice of the mom, and which is something I cannot forget, and based on her resilience, her faith in God, she inculcated those, those virtues in us, those virtues of hard work, faith in God. She made us believe in possibility despite those experiences we had.
I don't my hat off to your mom. Sounds like an exceptional woman. So, at what point did you think it has to be medicine?
Okay, that's a good question. I I think I would say when I was in secondary school, I think we grew in Nigeria. We do use a senior secondary school. I was in perhaps SS1, SS2. Then that's I think it might be like year 10 or year 11. Also, when I discovered that initially I wanted to do psychology also because I was interested also in the mind because the experience I faced, the low self-esteem with my stuttering, I was also interested in the mind too. But I just felt it would be very vague for me to just go and study the mind. I felt, well, the mind is from the brain. Why just go and study the brain, understand. And I was curious. I was a very curious child. And I just said, why can't I just go and, you know, and study the brain? And from SS2, I knew, oh, it was medicine. It was medicine.
And were you the straight A student?
Well, no. I think I had the potential. I had the potential, but I was very, I'm not that very super. I was gifted,
Exceptional.
but I think SS2, you know, I decided to be. No, in primary school, I got the best primary school results. Also, when I came to secondary school, obviously peer pressure in junior class, I was doing well, just slightly above average. But when I got to the senior secondary school, the SS1, that was when, I had better friends, when I was a member of a jet club. Then that was when I started reading. It's been a convoluted story, more like a fluctuation. But it was when I realized, I had a potential within me. Let me just go up and let me just be hardworking and give my best. And also with the motivation of the mom, that was a very good the need, the need to pay back, the need to make her happy. I guess that was one of the things I just said, let me just give myself to medicine. And since my medical school, 2003, 2004, I've not looked back. I've loved medicine for what it is. It's not there are different reasons people come to study medicine. People come from prestige. Some people felt, okay, money. Some people felt, but I just came into medicine to solve a problem. And that is why I'm still not there, until people until stroke patients can recover significantly. Then I will say, okay, I've finished my course, as Paul said in the Bible. I've finished. So there's still
Run the race.
exactly, I've run the race, I've finished, So I'm not yet there, because there's a whole lot of possibilities in stroke, so many things that we can do. So we're still on the path.
You have mentioned self-esteem and confidence a lot of times, and I know that you are not yet a finished product. But at what point in your life would you reflect and say, I think I started feeling a bit more confident at this time? And what did you do differently to help you reach that point?
Wow. It's been a difficult journey. No matter how much you try to improve yourself, there's still that layer of those experiences that is in your subconscious. It takes time to continue to work on that. I think all through even my med school, I still had some low self-esteem, from losing my dad at the age of, you know, at the age of 4, to being raised by a single mom, to the economic shifts dynamics that happened during those times. But I think when you have a mother that believes in you, that tells me a lot of times, oh, you're going to be great. Those things are very important things. Even when I remembered, also when I was in SST, I also faced a lot of, a little bit of, I would say, mild depression, which more, a lot of some psychological experience. I would say I had some obsessive thoughts. A whole of undiagnosed. So I diagnosed myself, and with her support, she was very, very key to that. So all through those years, you still have this feeling: are you enough? But I think I would want to give credit to a church I went to, a Brook Church. Which and that is why very, very important sometimes having a very good social space. And when you see a pastor who understand who you are, as a Christian, as a child of God, and tells you there's no limit to you. It's not about the experiences you've had. It's all about, and that really, to me, was a defining mindset for me. At 1 year during my national youth course, I attended the church, and that really shaped my mentality. So I believe churches can make, beyond just the lot of things the church can do, socially for young people to build their confidence. And to me, it was a very great experience for me. So I think over time, as I continue to progress in life, every success obviously gives you a lot of confidence. And so I think I won't say there was a particular time, but there were moments that really helped. my self-confidence that actually made me to believe in myself.
Oh, you sound like you have really strong ties to your faith.
Yes. I do have, I'm not the perfect person. I have a lot of imperfections, but I believe in God. I believe so much in the possibility of God. From my own personal experiences, I've seen the hands of God. I've had I've had very countless moments in life, that if I'm not even going for youth service in Calabar, where I encountered this very fantastic church that changed my mindset. Or is it my exams result that was perhaps, if I've not gotten this mark, I wouldn't have. So there's been a whole lot of experiences I've had, you know, you know, that I can't count that I've seen providence. Even coming to the UK, doing my residence in Southampton, going to do a lot of things. There's something bigger than you that is driving you. So I've seen providence in every aspect of my life, I would say.
Wow. Right. But which medical school did you go to in Nigeria?
Yeah, I went to the University of Ibadan, the premier University of Ibadan, the first and the best. Yes, indeed.
I don't think people who went to UNN will be very pleased to hear
Would
this.
know that it's UI and others, University of Ibadan and others.
Well, I'll leave that fight for your colleagues, for people from Nigeria to fight. I won't join you. Okay. And how was medical school? Was it a sail through? Did you have any hard times?
Medical school, I think, was a very good experience for me. I think I loved
Mhm.
medicine, and I remember, especially in the preclinical days, studying the human body, anatomy, physiology, biochemistry. For me, it was a pleasure. Obviously, beyond the pressure of passing very difficult tests and exams, but it was a great experience for me. I loved medicine, and it was. And when I moved to clinical school too, clinical school was a bit also challenging because, like I told you, I do have stutter. I do stutter, and there was also this phobia that, oh my God, I'll be presenting patient. And if you stutter when you are in a public place, the anxiety gets. So I was a bit scared. How am I going to cope with presenting in front of people? So, there were some bad days, but also there was some good days in the clinical school. And I think I loved everyone. I love internal medicine. I did well so much in my internal medicine exam. So med school was very good. Met a whole lot of very brilliant people. And but beyond the positives is also the negative that we need to be aware of. I think because self-esteem as a medical student is very important. You bring medical students, best people in the country, and a senior, it fits them like shit, which is something it shouldn't be. And we should empower people rather than suppress them. So beyond the great experience I had was also the negative thing that people sometimes look down on you, say anything to you, and a lot of people actually get to that breaking point in med school and they lose their confidence. I remember people who had 300 and something in JAB exam, they failed med school and the ripple effects, and they left, which is something I just feel the next generation of, of, of Nigerian doctors, African doctors should think of. We need to, you know, bring people up. And that is something you see a lot in this society here, where medical students are empowered, to be the best. And that psychology is very, you might be the best, you might be brilliant, but if somebody talks down on you, that can really, dampen or darken your light. So and we need an education that really focuses on bringing the best out of people. Definitely, you should give people a lot of challenges. I love the medical school that is challenging. But when you make things challenging, you should also make things supportive. So great challenge, fantastic, but
Mm.
also be supportive. Don't maybe, don't spoon feed people or something. Give them challenge, something difficult, but support them. I think to me that is my mantra. That is my
Oh,
method.
you've taken me back to medical school, ward rounds. I remember some of my colleagues were told they have cotton wool in their head. You should never speak again. Like really mean things. But I think generally things have evolved now and people tend to be more kind.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. But when I moved into the UK, there was this way I saw seniors as God. That reputation you experience from med school house job, even as residents in Nigeria, that reputation, fear of speaking out is still in your subconscious, and still you even transfer that thing here. And it took a long time for me to understand that, you know, I'm a resident. I should be able to speak out. I should be able to present patient. I should be able to, if things are not right, I should be open. That society where everybody is empowered to speak, it's very important. And to me, which is what I love about the medicine, the ability. Although, anyway, we still know that there's still a lot of, subtle, you know,
Hierarchy.
hierarchy, and subtle discrimination and so on that is there. But I think generally there's this environment that empowers you, to speak out.
I found it very uncomfortable when I relocated here and my consultant said, call me by my first name.
Yeah.
So I was like, huh? Because in Ghana, I used to call my boss,
Yeah.
So to graduate from boss and not even saying Mr. Bolaji or Dr. Bolaji and now saying, call me Paul. I was like, huh? So yeah, that was very eye-opening for me. So we've got finished medical school. We've done NYSC in Calabar.
Yes.
Did you work as a doctor in
Yes.
Calabar or did you do something else?
Yes, I work as a doctor because actually NYS, although it's a community service, you do a lot of also some is a paramilitary thing, but you're still assigned to work in usually perhaps a local government hospital. So I worked as a local government, in the local government hospital, but also use opportunity because I have some free time. Also worked in a private hospital, and it was it was this when I now worked in a private hospital that I had experiences of meeting Hollywood stars.
Oh, wow.
Also there was a film also they did, in Calabar. Then what was the name of this film? A lot of the hospital where I was working provided medical care to all those stars. So I saw Kiwete, Ejiofor, I saw Biggie Bandele, all those very great stars. So it was really a very good experience for me because I was just a very young guy, 24 or 23, and looking at that, it was really a very good experience. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So you always knew you wanted to do neurology. How easy was it getting into residency in Nigeria to do neurology?
Yeah. It's not easy. Especially if you want to do residency in a place like University College Hospital, which is like the first and the best hospital in Nigeria, I would say. Then, so it was very competitive. We went through a very rigorous process. You first need to pass your primaries exam, and then you need to go for a written interview. Then after that, we had an oral interview, and I was shortlisted, to be as much as something I liked about usage was that there was very level of merit. Also because you go through very rigorous exams that I was, I think 2013, I started my residence in internal medicine. I did, uh, I did 4 years of internal medicine before I passed the membership of West African College of Physicians. And then I started my neurology training in Nigeria. I was very restless because I love neurology, but I just felt care I was giving to my patients. I feel there was something that could have been better. And to me, also, that was when the restlessness came. I felt we have the knowledge, but we're not translating this knowledge into visible impact for our patients. A lot of stroke patient comes in, the way they're treated, no multidisciplinary care. And to me, that's restlessness. Just felt, no, I need to give the best for my patients in Nigeria. And one of the things I felt is what having an experience outside the country gives you that leverage. Let's see how things are done. And to me, that was a simple reason why I left. Not just economic reasons, but also because I'm still very passionate about stroke care in Nigeria, and I've been doing a lot of things, which I'm happy to talk about later on. And so that's uneasiness. I could have just stayed 1 year and gotten my full certificate, but I just felt, let me just leave. And then I came to the UK.
You had a lot of options available. You could have gone to the US, you could have gone to Australia, even Canada.
Yeah,
Why did you choose the UK?
yeah. Uh, like I said, I wasn't initially keen to travel out of the country at that point, and I was looking for the easiest route. And then because of my experience in neurology, Royal Wolverhampton, which is like a trust, in the UK, New Cross Hospital does this clinical fellowship program that you don't need to write blab. If you have experience, sufficient experience, then they can apply for your GMC license. So I applied for that clinical fellowship and I felt, okay, UK. And I've always, most of the books I've read has been, if you read about Orchain Saints, all those greats, even William Mosler, although he was a Canadian, but he did a lot of things in the UK. The people, pioneers of modern medicine were United Kingdom. And so I just felt this is a place for me.
Talking about books, I was part of a fellowship program, and then I met one of the authors of Kumar and Clark.
Oh,
Let me just throw you a curveball. What do you think the gender for Kumar would be?
yeah.
I thought so too. It's a really petite lady.
Really?
She's a Professor Dame. Yes,
Wow.
it's a woman.
So sorry.
Yes, and she's still alive. She's in her early 90s,
Wow.
and she's such a wealth of wisdom. So yes, if Kumar and Clark, Kumar is a woman.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So I think those things also influences where you want to, do your further training or where you want to be. So I was really Robert Hutchins and a lot of great people who actually did a lot of innovations in modern medicine were British. So I just felt this is a place for me to get my training, and that's why
Yeah.
I came to the UK.
So no PLAB further exams in 2020. You arrived. Was it before or after the COVID?
It was before the COVID, 2019 precisely. It was before.
Oh,
So I
2019.
thought, yeah, it was just before the COVID.
Right. And did you come alone? Did you come with your
I
family?
initially came alone, and my wife also joined me.
Yeah.
My family joined me 6 months later.
Do you remember your first day at work?
Yeah. I can vaguely remember, but I think I was obviously nervous, and it's a new system.
Did you start out? Did you?
I would have stuttered, I'm sure. I'm sure I would have stuttered. Uh,
Mm,
But I think it was a very good support system in
mm,
Royal Wolverhampton. And I think that's something I would always remember that trust for. New Cross Hospital, I worked in West Park, and they were very supportive, extremely supportive. It's a new system. No matter how very knowledgeable you are, you're very quiet. And with the experience, with the background I'm from, like I said, from my own personal experiences, from the experience I had in med school, not too good. I mean, very good, but the system of where obviously seniors who, oppress you, there's a blame game. There's this natural fear that comes. How am I going to settle in this seemingly advanced country? And so sometimes when I look back, sometimes I just smile out, like, oh, you did very wrong. But in life, it's always all about the ability to learn, the ability to be humble, to learn the new system, to learn the culture. And to me, it's been a, there's been the great days, there's been the bad days, but the most important thing is what reflecting on those experiences and getting better.
Lovely. Oh, I'm happy you mentioned about good and bad days. Can you remember one of your highest points, highest point since you came to the UK? That's work.
I mean, there's been so many, like you said, it's more like a fluctuations, more like a sinusoidal point. And there's been different sort of high days for me. I think one of these I can remember in Southampton was on Thank You Thursday. They usually do these sometimes really every Thursdays, just all the trust, they just select some people to be appreciated. So I think one of my consultants wrote something that, oh, this is one of the best middle grade doctors in the big screen in the hospital where everybody could look. One of the best middle
Wow.
grade doctors I've ever worked with, and that fills you with so much confidence, so much appreciation. So that alone was a very good experience for me. That was a beginning, because sometimes you need validations in life, and when people validate you, because I'm very big on validation. You know, people easily want to compliment. They can, you know, castigate you, or talk down on you. But it's very hard sometimes for people to give compliments are very good, and which is one of the things why, as a senior colleague, it's one of the things my junior, my residents also talk about, and are quite really, really pleased with in supporting them. So I think that was a very great icon. My MRCP also ceremony too in London was very good. MRCP UK when I wore the gown in a beautiful place in London, took pictures. MRCP UK. I was excited about that. And I think those were some of the highest. But then also, my first consultant job was a dream come true too. Very big time, because it's like where you've always wanted and you get there. So,
Oh, wow. These are exciting indeed. Oh, let's talk about the low one.
okay, the low ones I can remember, I think that I can remember that really brought about the traumas I faced in the past. Was as a ST5. Normally you are meant to have an half day every week for study, right? Generally, half day every week. And I was doing my normal half day because I just have to do that because it means training. And then my supervisor, clinical supervisor, was about, I mean, this was one of the most terrible experiences I've ever had before because it brought about traumatic, memories. He shouted on me. She said, "Oh, you should be on the ward. Why are you here in this study? Doing and my study." And
Not to cut you, but this was your clinical supervisor. So you've been with him for a while, or was it a new contact?
no, no, I've been with him for a while. I've been working together in a placement, and he just shouted at me. "Oh, I gave my best. This is a study time, and I'm doing training. There was there's nothing to be done. There was somebody else on the ward. So why?" So it was not very strange to me. I put it in my reflection portfolio, but to me,
So
it,
how did you handle it?
yeah, yeah, obviously I didn't shout back, but I said that this is my study time. I was very, frank, and then I discussed with another consultant about it, and the consultant, very they're trying to be very diplomatic. But that experience, and obviously some other ones that I don't need to talk about, but 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 it just brought back memories. And that was one of the reasons why I said, even from the way I was supervised by that person, I felt, oh, I want to do a master's in healthcare leadership because we need leaders as doctors for us to make a difference, or for us to improve NHS, for us to improve any healthcare. We need people who understand leadership. That leadership is not all about pressing. When you want to get the best from people, support them, encourage them, make sure that they schedule time. is used well. Give them break if they need it. They would, I wanted to use the word, they would serve you forever. Those are the
They'll give
persons.
off their best.
They'll give us the best. Exactly. Like they will. So to me, it was one of the things. Okay, I wanted to even go into and study about leadership because as a supervisor, I don't want to be like that to my junior colleague. And that so those experience, like those bad experience was things I reflected on. And to me, every bad experience I've ever had was a way for me to improve. See that every cloud has a silver lining. I see the positive things out of experience. And with that, I went, I started my master's in health and a lot of things I've learned about leadership, which I'm very keen, to share, to use, as a consultant at the moment. So there's been bad experiences, really bad one, but that one was so unique also because it brought about those traumas I faced when I was a small child who had a stutter and people looked down on. It brought out the memories when I was an house officer, when I had an oppressive senior registrar, who like was just enslaving you. So it brought out those memories where I've been unfairly treated, and it triggered so much of those subconscious processes. And to me, I've used those experiences to be better. You don't use a bad experience to weaken yourself, to make you very violent, to make you very irritable, to say, oh, it's good to call out a lot of discrimination and everything. But when you're reacting aggressively back to somebody who's trying to subjugate you, then you're giving them power. The way to take the power from them is to use those experiences to get them to move yourself higher than them. And that is the greatest power you can have. So those experiences, and that is what I'm very keen to talk about. People who face segregation. Fantastic. It's good to talk about discrimination. There is every time. But you don't need to be violent. You don't need to be very aggressive about it. How can you empower yourself to rise above that? And to me, that is a key thing. And that is what I've always used. From my background, from the experiences I've had through everything that has tended to suppress me has been an instrument for me to liberate myself. And to me, that is a very key thing in life.
Oh, I'm clapping so loud here. It's a shame you can't hear me, but in my mind, I'm giving you a resounding round of applause because what you're saying really, really resonates with me. Like the words of Maya Angelou that look, at the end of the day, people don't care what you say. They will remember how you make them feel. So it's important that we are mindful about these things. I have just come back from, I don't like to describe it as a holiday. I would say I've come back from a pilgrimage to Auschwitz-Birkenau. That's where the Nazi concentration camp, where they kept the Jews during the Holocaust. And one of the sayings that has been with me since I came back is that the road to Auschwitz was paved with hatred, but it was cemented with indifference. So you can't say that I'm indifferent, that you can't say that it's not me, so I don't care. Because like the other saying that goes that first they came for this person, I said nothing. Then they came for that, then I said nothing. And then they came for that, I said nothing. And now they've come for me. And there's no one here to save me because I never said something for anybody. So in our experiences with clinical supervisors and with leaders who don't treat us well, what I say is that it's a good experience because he or she has shown me who I do not want to be. Because sometimes we know what we want to be, but we don't know who we don't want to be. It's a good experience. Thank you. So your MSc in leadership, can you share briefly what are some of the things that you've learned?
It's actually an online program. Wow. Worry. It's been eye-opening. I think to me, I still have the material for me because it's been some of the things I think about what leadership should be is also the things I'm saying. So it validates my hypothesis about leadership. But one of the things that I'm very key, that it's something that is actually something I'm working on my thesis, is about collective leadership. And to me, that is where the medicine is going. In leadership theories, although there was this, obviously, if you look at the, the olden days, the theories about great man, that one person, all those iconic figures, Jesus Christ, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, saviors, initially there was those that leadership is inborn also. But over time, there's been different schools of leadership. We have a transactional leadership, transformational leadership. But the current school of thought is about collective leadership, which to me I think is a solution to every problems, especially problems in Africa, healthcare in Africa. We need to come together and solve it. So a collective leadership is when we have, when leadership is not just just isolated to somebody, but when everybody is empowered to be a leader and they come together, you know, to 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 improve, example, healthcare. And to me, which is something we will need. When I went back to Nigeria, the lot of fantastic, brilliant consultants, brilliant doctors. But the reason why our healthcare system has not improved is because we've not come together. We've not empowered everybody. We've not empowered the nurses. We've not empowered the radiographer. Everybody is still competing. You know, like I said, if no matter how strong you are, if you are the opposite side of a tug of war, you can't move, right? You will stay static. No matter how strong you are, if you're pulling each other apart, this one, you won't move forward. For you to move a society forward, you have to what? Have collective leadership, moving to one direction, and then you can make impact. But when you see pockets of brilliant people that divided, that are doing things, competing against each other, that are not concentrating on improving something, then there will not be progress. So the progress, the solution to the healthcare of Africa, of West Africa, of Nigeria, of Ghana, and anywhere or any developing country, even maybe India, is for people to come together in collective leadership. Understand that this thing is beyond me. I want to change this system. This thing, because everybody will be a patient. If we don't improve this system, it will bite us. So we need to work together. That collective leadership, which is what it's something I've always studied, is my philosophy, and that is a game changer for leadership everywhere. And if you look at Britain, if you look at Western societies, that is the strength of their development, either healthcare or anywhere, is a power. And that's why you see a lot of MDT. You wonder, why are we doing auto? Why are we doing MDT? Why are we doing these things? Is it just the bureaucracies or anything? But there is a power when people come together with a purpose. It changes things. And to me, that's my philosophy. And that's something I'm working on. Hopefully, I'll be able to publish my stuff on that. Because I'm working on collective leadership in stroke. So, yeah, we did.
I'm looking forward to that. Let me pick your mind. You know how a lot of finances from the US has been cut to Africa, especially with healthcare. So like things like USAID. What do you think we can change as leaders in Africa to cope in the absence of these funds?
Oh my God. Like I said, necessity, they say, is a mother for invention. And to me, if you look at the evolution, if you look at the Charles Darwin, the survival of the fittest, people evolve based on challenges. And to me, I think it's high time for Africa to use this opportunity to think deeply on how we can locally fund our healthcare. We have rich people, even beyond the government, we have rich people, we have charity organizations. This is the time for people to come together to say, okay, even if it's just $1 or something, let's have a charity, let's have a pot. Let's also build our own very, dependable charity program where even if it's okay, I mean, it depends on the person selling this to me. If I believe in this, If it's just for me to be sending £5 every month to that thing, if everybody, 1,000 people do that, we can raise up funds for so many things. So Africa, more than 1 billion people, we have resources, we have potentials, and to me, it's an opportunity for us to think outside of the box to see how we can solve it. But I do believe we can. We can. We have the possibility. We have the potential.
Thank you. That was really insightful. So from the fellowship to consultancy, it's not the norm. I don't often hear people come in as fellows and then become consultants. So what did you do special? What was your pathway?
Oh, okay. Yeah. My pathway was okay after the fellowship program, and then also because of my experience, I skipped internal medicine training like INT of before I came to the UK. 6 years experience in internal medicine and neurology. So I used alternative to competency to start my ST4 because of my knowledge of neurology. I've always been wanted to do stroke. Now there are different. Stroke is a subspecialty. There are different, routes to that. So you can either do neurology training, rehabilitation medicine training, or geriatric training. Some people even go to acute medicine training for that. So I decided, because I felt my weakness in stroke management is rehabilitation, is recovery. So I decided to do my training, training in neurological rehabilitation as a route for me to do stroke fellowship. So when I completed my rehabilitation medicine training, then I did a year stroke fellowship, Health Education England, which is subspecialized and which was also like very competitive to even to enter. And then I finished it in July last year, and I got my stroke consultant job in August last year.
So getting your stroke consultant's job, tell me, how was the interview process? How was the process? Did you just chance on the job or did someone signpost you to apply? How did you get into it?
It was through an agent. I just wanted, and also I didn't want to work in Southampton at that moment because I felt I wanted to, I just did my stroke fellowship. I wanted to go through something smaller, more like a county hospital for my stroke consultant job. So I went through an agent who helped me, and then the interview was my first interview as a stroke consultant, but it was good. They said they were really, really impressed. And to me, is that what makes you, what I've discovered is that what makes you marketable, obviously your skill is very important, your knowledge, but other things, my leadership masters, they really helped me. I started, you know, I did a startup, medical education academy where, take people through PACES exams. So I've been doing a lot of medical education. I did a lot of research too. So all those bits was the selling point. So what makes you marketable is beyond just the area of specialization. Is other things you had, that gives you that robust, thatness, of knowledge and makes you marketable. So, and what I will always advise is that good, be the best you and your skill, but hard other things. So that medical education, research, other things makes you, it sells you a lot. In consultant interview.
I'm happy you've touched on that, because sometimes as trainees, I find a lot of my trainees that say, look, I'm too busy, I have no time for this, especially when it comes to research. I realized that BMJ actually gave you recognition. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Oh, yes, yeah. So, and it's been yearly now, yeah, and because also beyond just writing or also BMJ, because I've written a lot of case reports, I do review articles,
Mm-hmm.
the BMJ reviewer. So last year they just published an appreciation of people who review, who are very regular and constant BMJ reviewer. So I was, and it's been like yearly now. I've been appreciated yearly for what I do in reviewing articles. I still have one I need to review now. And the more you do those things, the better you are. So to me, evidence-based medicine is really, really important.
I have a few questions, but I know that we are running out of time. Tell
Okay.
me about your uncle and what role did he play in your life?
Wow. So my uncle is funny thing is that the people who actually inspired me, people I didn't really meet physically. Like I was very young. I can't even remember. But I, would- I would actually call him my grand uncle. Is what. So it's not like directly my brother. It's he's actually my mom's also cousin, but he's quite older and such. He was. His name is Professor Stoffel. I mean, he did. He became a professor of neurology at the age of 35. He did so many things about neurology in Africa. You know, there's something we call the uh, tropical ataxic neuropathy. It was one that first linked also cassava to that very tropical ataxic neuropathies, which occurs, in a particular town in Nigeria. So it was what that first linked that it should be something from the cassava, a toxic component of cassava that is linked to that neuropathy. So, and it did a lot of things. It was was a CMD of UCH, and it puts neurology, in a map in Africa. He's one of the most, renowned professors of neurology back in Africa. So he died at the age of 90, at the age of 60 in 1995. But he did so many
Did
great.
you ever get to meet him?
No, I must have been very young, but I can't even remember. But it was an inspiration. At some point, even I lived in his house. When I was growing up. You know, lived so much. So much influence and so much motivation, inspiration. I mean, if you look at his library was filled with books. That's enough was a source of inspiration for me.
Oh, do you have any regrets in life?
That's a very, very deep, sober question. And obviously, there will be regrets. There are a lot of things in life that I feel okay. But perhaps if I was born with another skin color and there's a lot of amputations you can think about. I'm not like, yeah. But I think the key thing with me is that I always believe there's a purpose. So I don't see it as a regret. I see every of those experiences as rather as part of my journey. Even if I mess up, I understand that it is staying in that squalor that is a problem. But learning from those experiences and getting better is the most important. So those experiences I've had in life, such poor decisions I could have done that have made me a bit regretful, has been turned into positives in my life. So I don't see those things as regrets. I see more, as a rather than an obstacle. I see it as a stepping stone to where I am today.
I
Yeah,
know you are very much in tune with Nigeria and you do a lot of projects back home.
yeah,
What is the end game? Are you planning to relocate someday and be like your uncle?
yeah. I mean, that's a great question. No matter how, I think it's my philosophy, and it's the truth. And the truth is, we will be judged by collective greatness, not always. I might be in Britain, doing fantastic works, check results, and when people see me, they see my people. And to me, that is what I think the Afro Caribbeans have been struggling with for many, because we are judged a lot by how people see us. The most black populous nation in Nigeria, the struggles it's having. No matter how fantastic your living individual, and that is the truth. Even our progenitors, children. That's to me, I feel it's a very good foundation to what I want to say. So I'm passionate about improving Nigeria, not beyond myself. There's a need in Nigeria. There are healthcare problems in Nigeria. I don't know how it's gonna be, but I would definitely make impact in Nigeria. So if it's either to coming and going or settling at some point, I'm very keen to improve Nigeria. And just beyond Nigeria is Africa and Afro Caribbean. I'm so passionate even about every, everybody with an African heritage, wherever they might be, probably in Jamaica, even African Americans. There's this collective, you know, thing about us. There's a whole lot of things we need to prove to the world. There's a whole lot of things we need to do. We, it's all about proving, but we need to make impact. We need to change narratives. And to me, it's all about coming together and working together. We need to be we need to collaborate wherever we might be. Nigeria and Ghana, we shouldn't be, arguing about who has a better jollof rice and everything. We'll be thinking about how Nigeria and Ghana come together and collaborate and do great healthcare. Beyond just arguing about jollof rice and Nigeria, we need to collaborate. African countries, Afro-Caribbean countries, they need to improve. Also, let's keep our finger crossed, but obviously I will do a lot of things in Nigeria.
Currently, I know you're doing fantastic in Southampton, and you're telling us at the beginning about how you got the recognition. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, I think like the key thing is make impact locally, make it globally. And to me, because I believe in community service, I believe in make. So I was recently recognized as part of the 40 people who were interviewed, and we had our photos and videos shown, at a big wall in the city center projected, for 2 weeks to celebrate people who are making difference in Southampton. So I was part of the 40 people, amongst people with MBEs and so on. And this was based on just the what I've been doing. Number one, as a stroke consultant, doing a lot of things, raising yo- younger people up. I do a lot of mentoring. Apart from that, my education thing, like you said, got. I started a PACES group with a group of people, and up to 500 people in the PACES WhatsApp group. We do deliver weekly free teachings to support people, especially international medical graduates who are struggling with our PACES exam, MRCP PACES exam. And I've been doing that for the last 2 years. We've made a lot of impact. And beyond that is also you know, I've also been mentoring. I'm a mentor to Black Medics UK, you know, just those medical students, I mentor them to be, to become best doctors they can be. And beyond that is also I started a group called Green White Green Healthcare Heroes, which is a group for just more like Nigerian immigrant healthcare professionals, just to come together to support them, especially new people struggling, nurses, and seeing how they can support. So I've always been involved in community, but the most important thing was also being as part of the uh, Black event at a music festival, which is one of the biggest festivals in Southampton. I coordinate the health hub, and I've been doing that for the past 2 years. And also, I started something on Songs and Nerves, which is like a band where we sing for patients in neurological, wards and everything. So I sing a lot too. I've got a band, and we go to do all those. So because of all these things, I was nominated for this I'm a Southampton Community 2025 legend. But but to me, I think the key thing is just very, very important to your life is just much more than yourself, and we have to, when God gives us gifts, it's an opportunity for us to improve the life of others wherever we might be. And to me, that motivates me to make people smile, to improve things, to make impact. I think that's what drives me.
To make impact. Paul, I probably should I probably should let you sing for us, but I'll save you the ordeal today. Another time you're not going, you're gonna sing for us before you go.
Yeah, no
Tell me
worries.
quickly, if you were to give one piece of advice to yourself at the start of your life, so if you were able to go back to your 10-year-old or your teenage self, what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, I would just tell myself, always believe in yourself. And yeah, I think that's the word. Always believe in yourself. No matter where you're from, no matter the experiences you've been through, as a human being, you have the capability to become anything you want. just by believing in yourself. Yeah, and that's just what I would say. Because to me, the difference sometimes in people achieving great things, good things, just being there. It's all about belief. And if we're able to instill that belief in everybody we meet as a child, if it is a responsibility to tell them that what you can become anything, even if there's a young child in the ghetto, that you can become anything you want to be. If we can provide them with our support to be anything they want to be, I think that is the greatest thing we can do to anybody we meet. Just believe in yourself. Believe. And that is what I would tell myself. Paul, believe in yourself.
Paul, believe in yourself. It's amazing the power of our thoughts. And I'm sure you being a rehab doctor, you have seen how people respond well to their management, whether they believe they'll get better or not. Because if you think you will get better, whatever you think, you are right. If you think you won't get better, you won't get better. If you think you'll get better, you will get better. And it's amazing how our brain works.
Yes.
So yes, we really need to believe in ourselves and empower other people to
Mm,
believe in themselves as well. So, what would be your parting word?
yeah, it's just yeah. I think the key thing, like I said, is as a community of people, I think the key thing I've always emphasized is unity. Unity is very important. Whenever you're at work, I think the key thing is just looking beyond yourself. How can I be a peacemaker rather than bring conflict? How can we come together as humans? Black, white, Asian, all short, female, male, no matter who we are. The key thing is that what unites us as humans is far greater than what divides us. And to me, it's just envisioning. Let's work together as people. Let's push ourselves further on, and let's see good things in people. Like, it's just my word. Is the key thing is what you know. Just let's what unites us is greater than what divides us, and let's concentrate on that. Let us come together as humans. Let's see the good in others. What unites us is far greater than what divides us.
If anybody is taking the paces, because I know that international medical graduates really struggle with these exams, and sometimes we just resort to saying, oh, they don't like me, they're discriminating against me. But you have seen a lot of success stories, and I'm sure you have been through it yourself, and you've helped a lot of people go through it. So how can they find you? Can they follow you on LinkedIn? Can they send you a message there?
Yes, yes. Also on LinkedIn, my name is Paul Bolaji on LinkedIn, and also I also have a website we created for the Medical Education Academy. It's called dasacademy.co.uk. So you can join the website if you want to attend our free tutorials. Please reach out to me through LinkedIn or through the website. You can just send a message and we'll get the LinkedIn. And we're planning even to do some acute medicine series soon, just to support people with acute medical management once a month. So a lot of things are cooking. So just if you can just yeah, either follow me on LinkedIn, ask questions, or even go through the website. You can also get across to me.
Do you need volunteers as well? Can people volunteer?
Definitely, we need as many volunteers as much as possible. So we need people who can teach people. I mean, if you pass spaces and you want to volunteer to teach people, fantastic. We've got certificates for people if you want to volunteer.
Absolutely. So yes, guys, if you're listening to him, please do like and follow him and be part of this. It's a good boost of your CV, if you have that medical education aspect. And beyond your CV, it's a way of you paying forward. So by all means, please do it. Paul, I have thoroughly enjoyed having this conversation with you, and I think NHS should be privileged to have you. You are a great asset to this nation and Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Johanna. I really also must commend you. Thank you so much for the great things you're doing. You are a big inspiration, of somebody who has actually overcome adversity, who is overcoming adversity to bring light to others. And I think this podcast is great, empowering international medical graduates. They're a great inspiration, Well done.
Thank you. And thank you. And until we meet again, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share, tell other people about it. Don't gatekeep. Let other people know about this podcast. And until we meet again, it's bye for now.